edge of the box. And in comes the free kick in towards Abel. Xavier got a touch to it, hit the post. In fact, it's thrown back into the net. And Abel Xavier peels away, celebrating for having an early advantage against Bolton.
Murphy's corner, and Marshall's got a palm on it importantly. And it came for Gerrard, and it came for Xavier, and it's in! Debut goal for Abel Xavier. Not once did he strike in.
Abel Xavier de la tête et but. Abel Xavier le Portugais qui permet à Liverpool de revenir à un but partout. Premier enseignement.
The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
So hello, a very warm welcome to a VAR show, the show which talks about all the best major football leagues in detail. Today we are going to go into interviews and we have Mr. Abel Xavier with us. Abel has played for the likes of Liverpool, Roma, Benfica, among a host of other teams and a lot of leagues. So without wasting much time, I'd like to first thank Mr. Abel for coming on the show. Thank you and welcome to the show. And I'd like to begin by asking you, how are you and what are you doing these days?
ಠೊವ್ಬɛ<hesitation>, first of all, I would like to say thank you to having me in this show, in this platform. I would like also to say hello to everyone, every people that has been following us in this present moment. I'm very pleased to share a little bit my history, because I think that behind the person and behind the man and behind the vision, there is always a history to be told. And thank you, because this interaction, it's very positive. Because people can recognize me on the field, but they cannot recognize me about my personality or about my ideas. And as you told, I have a very experienced career overseas in different contents and different countries and different clubs. And it's very important to be able to share. I'm very pleased and thank you so much.
Definitely, and we'll move straight into the first question, and it's about your career. And you have played in so many great teams, and like the national team, be it in Europe or even in US, where you played for LA Galaxy. How has the journey been for you? When you look back, are you satisfied? How do you feel?
Yes, ಠೊವ್ಬɛዀ. Of course, when you start your career, you have a dream, you have a vision. I'm coming from Africa. As you know, Africa, it's a poor continent, and all the families, they want to raise kids to have a future, to have a purpose. In '75, I came back with my family to Portugal. Portugal colonized Mozambique, and millions and millions of Africans coming to Europe, and Portugal was able to open the gate to these African people, integrated in society. It was difficult times. As young, you need to follow your parents, because they educated with the correct values for you to pursue your dreams. And of course, the element of school, the element of education, it's very important. Wherever surrounded, you can have it. And I made football. We start football by playing in the woods, played outside. I was a kid who coming from the streets. And in the slow process, I was able to go to a youth development program of Sporting Lisbon, that back in the day was one of the best in Europe, who raised more than 80% of the Portuguese players around the world. It was Sporting Lisbon Academy. Cristiano Ronaldo also coming from Sporting Lisbon Academy. I was also a product of Sporting Lisbon Academy, because I stayed there for more than 10 years in a youth development program. And of course, when you develop your career by football, you are always also strict by rules, strict by a conduct, strict by coaches. And these coaches, sometimes they are also parent figures, because you are young, you still develop your own personality. And for that reason, I'm very glad that with 17 years, I was able to go to Benfica, continued my process of transition for senior football. This process, it was a process that your family bonding, they need also to understand that maybe not so many young players, they can do it. It's very hard to make a career in football if you don't have a correct surrounding, and that surrounding must come priority by your parents. That is very key. Your parents, and also a healthy surrounding ambience. Because it's hard, it's difficult and it's hard, but I was possible by my commitment, by my determination, by my focus, and I went to a big club in Portugal, that is Benfica. I won the title in Benfica, and from that moment in '93 I was able to internationalize my career because I was playing international football, and I start to have visibility because I played for 10 years in a youth development program of national teams in Portugal. I was one of the players in Portugal that I make 10 years of youth development from under 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. I was the world champion in 20, Europe champion under 16, 2 vice Europe titles under 17, under 18, World Cup winner under 20. And after I was able to go to a national team, the big one, expectations. I play Europe and I play also World Cup. For that reason, when I international in my career, it was a great achievement because you start looking for different purpose, you start looking for different objectives because you want always more. But you need to understand that in football structure, you are just one more to add to others. For that reason, you need to respect where you are. You need to respect and integrate it and understanding the language of the country, philosophy of the country, the people mentality, people understanding of football, the social problems of the country, the language approach, everything I was able to learn in this journey. For that reason, when I look back, I just can say that I'm pleased. I will not change nothing from the way I come from poverty, for the way I developed my career, for the way I achieved international football. My image that it was integrated, also associated by my performance. Now I'm a coach, and these are rights for me, and these are responsible for me as a coach who want to lead and you want to form also youth developed players and good structures to give back to football world, because I'm pleased for that.
Definitely, and that's quite inspirational to hear. And I wanted to ask you, like you said, you moved from Mozambique to Portugal when you were small. How difficult was it, to play football? Because we are shifting countries, you will have a lot of other problems. Football is the least of the problem that you will have. How difficult was it for you to make it?
I think that the countries where we was colonized, we have a common problems of integration. If you're going to understand, when Portugal opened the doors to thousands of African people, we have also major problems of integration in society, because we start to make the village, the poor village, because we don't have option. There is racism involved, there is discrimination involved, difficult times. The right to equality, it was a problem process. For that reason, the changing of mentalities over the years and the people acceptation, that it was a great effort when we are talking about living with the same rights in society, But football, if you're going to understand about different industries, football, you can look to football structure as an example, because inside the structure, and when you're going to talking about structure a club, there is no race, there is no religion, there is no difference of status. Football, it's a big case of studying about taking the good parts of that and putting it also in society. Because you can compete, you can form, but you need to have the knowledge that everybody counts. If everybody counts, that means that you become more competitive as a collective. You need to add your individual skills, no matter which country you are, no matter religion you have, no matter color you have, but what is important is your own valor to add it and create it a good society. For that reason, football, you have a great strong message if politicians also use sports and football knowledge, to educate, form, and to avoid that you have this balance that in the end of the day still persists in society, but you need always to work in a daily basis to become more equal.
Definitely. And like you said that the cultures were similar in Mozambique and Portugal because it was a colony, but you played in so many different other countries like England, 7 different. How different were the cultures in these countries?
Yes, I think that we be made to embrace and to add knowledge. And if you stay in the same place, then means that you need to research and you need to study. If football giving the opportunity that you can travel, you're going to discover by living with these people that there is a different perspective to understand life. There is a different perspective about the culture of the countries. There is a different perspective about the mentality. And I think that is the richness of the people himself. It's be able to add knowledge, know-how by living with these people, by accepting that you are one of them. And for me, I'm a travel person. I like the world. Because when you are able to use football and going to different language, mentality, continents, you can realize and you can have the knowledge about the difference, but in the end of the day, we are the same. That means that around the world, okay, we be made to live together. No matter culture you can have, no matter difference you can have, and I believe that football, it play a big role because no matter where you are, you can compete and you can be strong. Those who are thinking that the better football, it's in Europe, no. The better football is where you are and what you want to create to become strong and to become competitive. That is a key element that you can find your good surrounding by strength and be competitive, no matter what you are. Because we be made to grow and to be strong and to have the correct mentality of approach. And this is a normal process for people who have vision, for people who want to achieve something of your life. Because I believe that you be made to be in life to make the difference. No matter each way, but you need to make your difference and do your own part in this process.
Definitely. And like I just wanted to ask this, you moved to Bari, I think the first place outside of Portugal. What was the most difficult thing, the first time you were going outside?
Well, I was using to be in a comfort zone because you have your family. When I went to Bari with 21 years, it was very difficult because I start to embrace different culture, different language, different surrounding. Then that will going to push me, the mental approach to be able to absorb the differences. But my focus always and still remain what I can produce in the field. The field is very important because the field and your work efforts, it doesn't lie. If you are good, if you want to achieve something, whatever surrounding you can have of difficulties, what you do in the pitch and what you do outside the pitch, you must be led by your focus and example, because you want to become strong, you want to become better, you want to compete. And Italy, for me, it was tough because it was in the south, because we need to understand that all the countries have these specificities about the north and south, and you need also to understand this factor. And for me, it was very important, my experience in Italy, because it gave me mental growing, and it was very good, because you can have talent, you can have quality, but the most important thing when you want to achieve something is the mental focus and approach about what you want to achieve. And Italy was a great start of my career with 21 years, because I was young. I was able to push myself to grow fast in the early stages. Italy was not difficult because the football back in the day, the teams, he was working, by assume the difference also of status in the regions, and football all these years, readjust and put the countries by seeing all country and reduce the differences.
Definitely. And I'll touch on another important and maybe interesting fact is that you are among a handful of players who have played for Everton and Liverpool. How did that happen?
That is amazing change. I played 2.5 years in Everton. Both clubs, they have more than 100 years of existence, and just 4 players cross from one side to another side. Just 4 players, and I was one of them. It was a difficult move because the rivalry, passion, we need to understand. The emotion about the people. And when I made that change, I was very respected towards Everton president, because Everton, he was passing a difficult time. We was fighting regulation zone. There was economic problems in the club, and Liverpool approached me in a very respectful way. And they said, Abel, Xavier, we would like to having you, because in 6 months' time, you're going to end your contract, and we would like to have you, because you're going to give opportunity for you to, in 15 days, play Champions League football. As a player, it's a very difficult decision, because socially, you're going to have a lot of impact. I need to change my house. I need to live in a different area of the city. I need to have bodyguards to secure my integrity as a player, because the emotions, because people don't believe that it was possible. I going to play in a rival, across the park. But I think that when you do the things with the right respect by both structures, when you do the things by telling the people, exactly what it was the reason, it's very pleased that when I come back to Liverpool now, I'm very welcoming by the both sides. But it was not a difficult move. It was very, very difficult.
How much stick or hate did you get from the fans?
Too much, because fans, we need to always respect the fans, because fans, they are passionate. Fans, they are emotional. And of course, that was in January, transfer market. It was in the middle of the season that I decided to change to rival. It was not middle in the end of the season, and of course, there is people who accept, there is another people who doesn't accept. But I think that the way and the process you do these things, I think it must be with respect. I think as a player, it's a move that you need always to consider it. But as a fan, of course, I respect them. I love Everton. I love Liverpool. I was very glad and very pleased and very happy by after 7 years, Liverpool won the title. The big achievement that I try in my times. We stay second, with the coach Gerard, and now they won it finally. I was very happy, and I think that people who love football, no matter club you like, but people who understand football, they was happy by Liverpool won the title finally, because it's a culture. It's an international structure. It's so strong, the message and the mythic club that is Liverpool. But I love also Everton, and they treat me very well there.
Definitely. And you started your time at Liverpool very well. You scored goals in your debut and everything, but at the end it did not pan out well. You had an argument with Gerard Houllier. Can you shed some light what happened?
No, because we need always to respect the coaches. I was a very tough and very aggressive player in the field. I was very aware about my capacities. I always respect the competition with my colleagues, because I think that when you want to create a good surrounding, competition is very important. And but I never have problems with Gerard Houllier. Gerard Houllier was a great coach. Gerard Houllier, he was the man behind the structure. The changing of Liverpool, we need to give a lot of credit to Gerard Houllier. What Liverpool have in this present moment, when you're talking about facilities, when you talk about the academy, when you talk about vision, Gerard Houllier, he was the key coach in that moment, and the coach who understand better, they develop what Gerard Houllier left, was Klopp. He understands very well. For that reason, when you work with the planning, when you work with the vision, and when you put personally that understand and develop, sooner or later you're going to have a strong structure and you will win. For that reason, Gerard Houllier for me, he was one of the greatest coaches I ever in my career. I never have a problem with him in Liverpool. We have Marcus Babel competition. We have Jimmy Carragher competition. We have Finham competition. And there is a moment I said to Gerard, Coach, we play Champions League football. We was with Roma, Barcelona, and Galatasaray. We play the first time English club go back to Turkey to play, because in behind there is political regions and problems in the past. And we play Champions League against Galatasaray. When I play in Galatasaray, the fans of Galatasaray so much passion about me. I final the game and I said, one day I want to play for Galatasaray. 1 year after, they called me and I went to play in Turkey in Galatasaray, my second home. I love people there. I love the passion there. And football have that side of emotion also in develop of a career of a player. Sometimes you play in a club, you love to play for this club. You want to stay there more time, but you are competing for places. And when you are competing for places, performance and rendement, it's key.
Definitely. And you said there were a lot of competitions in the defense, and of course someone will miss out in the places to play. As a player, how do you keep yourself motivated when you are not playing for maybe 1-2 weeks? How do you keep motivating yourself?
The most important when you are an instructor is that when you sign a contract and when you are in the group, no one saying to you that you're going to sign or you're going to stay in the structure and you will play. They will say to you that you're going to be integrated in the club, in the group, and you're going to work for competition for places. This is very important. You need to have this kind of frontal positions with the players. We have 25 players, 26 players. No, everyone, all them, they cannot play. There is some players who will understand better. There is another players who will not understand. But the most important thing is that inside the environment, you need to have a healthy environment with a lot of responsibility and acceptation. For that reason, your focus and your mind must be in what you can produce in the training and what you can produce in the games. If you are not selected, be focused in your work. The only place that you need to reclaim your position is by working more and more and more, and accept and be competitive. Because if you are weak in your mind, and if you reduce your levels of determination and your levels of commitment, then you will not have your place back. You will not have your affirmation in the team. For that reason, acceptation and work hard, and never accept that you are second. Work to be first.
Definitely, and that's a very good piece of advice. And I want to ask you, coming back to the current affairs, how good is Liverpool at this moment?
It's Liverpool, like I said to you before, I know very well that structure because I've been behind the scene. These efforts, after 4 years of process, after 4 years of investment, after 4 years that the structure giving time to club, building a team, select the players, and make the best club and team in the world. People in football, they need to understand that behind the objective, you need to have a planning. And this planning cannot be collide with the resultist mentality that exists in this present moment. People want fast results. You cannot achieve a concrete result and with constantly changing of mentality if you don't have a planning and you follow the steps. Liverpool, they don't have the best player in the world. Liverpool, they have good players, and Klopp made them best players in their own positions to become best team. And for me, you can work by talent and quality. You need to add a key element that most of the people and most of the coaches and much of the commentator people, they don't understand. They talk about talent, quality, and money investment, but preparation. How you can prepare a club and players that Manchester City that have money and quality players, they stay 20 points behind Liverpool. There is something more in Liverpool. You need to work in preparation and also in a key element that is the physical capacity to understand the player. The physical capacity. When you look for this structure in Liverpool, you can see that is the team who play with high intensity over the period of the game in intensity efforts. In this present moment, there is no more intensity team in qualitative aspect than this Liverpool. Why? Because Klopp understands that science in sports, preparation in capacity, physical capacity, is something very vital to add it to talent and quality. And when you add these three elements, talent, quality, physical capacity, tactical awareness of the game, make the players understand the philosophy of identity for where you want to achieve, you can grow. No matter where you are, if you set these boundaries, you're going to grow and you're going to develop strong structures and also facilities. Okay, we need to give access to key elements to players, because the players are the protagonists. The players, they produce what we give. For that reason, there is some structures, they forget to invest behind the scenes. They forget to invest in knowledge, experience, preparation, things that sometimes you don't see it. because you just see it in a game form. You just see it in a games. That is the result, the final results about a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. In this question, the structure and academy in Liverpool, there is two codes. One code, it's well known by everyone. Everybody sing. You never walk alone. But behind the scenes, there is another code, very important in Liverpool mentality. We don't need to speak about your own strengths that we have it inside. Perhaps there is clubs, there is more branding and more marketing all-wise. We talk about Manchester City, we talk about Barcelona, we talk about Real Madrid. But if you see it very clear, Liverpool, they don't need to speak about their own strengths inside. They don't speak. They don't speak about what they have. They don't speak because they show in the pitch. That is the differences.
Definitely. And like I'll move on from that, and you have played in so many clubs in different countries. Where did you have the best time? Where did you enjoy your time the most?
I enjoy everywhere where I was, because you cannot say that you don't enjoy when you are doing what you love. When you do what you love, you need to feel pleasure and joy, because you need to understand and respect that 80% of the people in society, they do things that they don't like. They do things to survive. We, as a football players, and now I'm a coach, I do what I love. That means that I'm a privileged person, and we need to respect that. For that reason, no matter which club where I was fighting relegation, no matter club where I was to fight to stay in the middle of the table, clubs where I was to fight Champions League, Benfica, Roma, Galatasaray, Liverpool, PSV Eindhoven, fighting Champions League football, national team, when you play for your country, the best t-shirt in the world. No matter club where you can play, the best t-shirt, the best club is when you play for your country. When you play for your country and you will play for millions of people, that is the biggest achievement that you can have it in your career. That can be the big achievement. For that reason, I love my career. I love the clubs where I play. Some clubs I play more than other clubs, but I think that the most important is that you can have a professional image of to be professional. And I think that is very important.
Definitely. And you said you enjoyed your place everywhere, and you have played under a lot of great coaches. Who has had the most influence in you?
Well, now I'm a head coach also, to give back what I learned in different countries with different coaches. Because there is one key element that when you grow up in your career as a player, you are a coach of yourself. You have the coach, you have the leader, but you are learning also during this process to become a good football player. You are learning good habits. You are learning code of conduct. You are learning the knowledge of the game. Then you are a coach of yourself. You need to be able to understand what you need to do to become more competitive. You don't need sometimes to be led by someone to telling what you really want to do, what you really must to do. That means that you become self-conduct person. For that reason, all the coaches that I have, I learn. I need to tell you that because there is a few coaches they don't want, but I learn, I grow. Because by winning and lose, you are always learning. By doing the correct things and mistakes, you are learning. Everything is a process of learning, if you understand. And when you take the bad decisions, and you take the correct decisions in the field, or you take the correct decisions in your club, or you take information about your coaches, that you are growing. For that reason, I grow with all the coaches. Of course, in Liverpool, Gerard Houllier, because his vision, he was a key element in my perception to understand. Because when you are a coach, you are not just coaching players to understand the game. You are inform the players what they need to do it in overall aspects, not just from the game, the self-behave, the discipline, habits, the code of conduct, because you need to grow first the person for you to have a good player. First the young player to become strong and grow. Second, the person behind the player. And if you win the person, you win more than one player. This is key element. If you win the person, you win more than a player, because the player will give everything for you. The player will be compromised. For that reason, I learn with all the coaches that I have in my career. Some things that I should do, and other things also that I should not do. But for me, all the coaches, they give me something special to become what I am now and what I want to achieve as a coach.
Definitely. And you moved into coaching after a while, after your playing career. Did you always want to be a coach?
Yes. Of course, when you are a high profile player, and there is a lot of debate about that, because there is coaches, they never play and they are very good coaches. And there is players, high profile players, they play high football and they fail to be coaches. That means that in a football zone, there is a place for everyone to be a coach. But I believe that a profile player that understands the inside environment, that I think it's key information. It's very important, because these days we have a lot of information surround football about philosophies, about technical things, tactical things, motivation of the players. But I think that the leadership and communication to get together human resources, that means players bonding, create empathy, that is about leadership and communication, play a big part in these days. Is very key. Of course, you need to assess the players, the information, for them to become concrete and to be able to understand what happened in the field, to be more intelligent, because that is important, is for you to make the players be more intelligent in the field, understanding what we're doing, because football is a game of strategies, it's a game of intelligence, it's a game for you to understand the weaknesses and the strength and observation of the opposition, be dominant in the field. For that reason, when I decide to become a coach, I want to create impact in the players, individually and also collectively. I started in Portugal because I want to start, because much of the young coaches generation of Portuguese, they start in Portugal. I made 3 projects in Portugal, and after my country where I born, the president called me and said, Abel, Xavier, come to help the country, come to help my federation, come to help the people here, because Africa, they have so much talent there. There is so much quality of players, but we needing you for you to raise a new generation of Mozambique players and put a good national team. And I went for 3.5 years to Africa, to my born country, and I was able to set a planning in 3.5 years, recruitment, scouting, put the people together with football, because the national team, it's about the people, it's about the country. And in this present moment, Mozambique have a strong national team. They are first in qualified to CAN with Cameroons, and the age range, it's 23. You know, young players, quality players, and I'm very happy that I left a legacy. I was able to form the national coaches to understand the game. I was able to form the goalkeeper coaches program in Mozambique. I was able to place it a transversal content among the youth teams, under 17, under 20, under 23. They are playing integrate with the transversal methodology of system, and I think that is very important when you want to create sustainability towards the future. You don't think about today. You need to think about today and tomorrow. For that reason, you need to have a program, a planning, and put the right people in place.
Definitely, and that's a very good legacy to leave behind. And like, you know, as a coach, what is your footballing philosophy like? How do you play?
You know, I believe that the image of your team reflect what you are. You know, I was a dominant player when I was a football player. Aggressive in the field, dominant player. And I believe that there is one characteristic in your philosophy, in the creation of your own identity. It's be dominant. It's be able to building the game, but by being dominant. I think that sometimes the mental approach of a few players or few teams it's weak, because the mental approach to be waiting for what is going to happen, you know, it doesn't work like that in football. You need to believe that you prepare well the players. Every player can compete in the same level. They can compete in the same level. It's the way you structure your team. You know, when you're talking about system, of course, there is different systems. But the most important is the dynamic that you place it inside the system. You know, for example, I can place my team according with the players that you have. You can place it in 4-4-2. Okay, there is coaches, they start to building the game from the back, but there is another coaches, they start to understand the game from the front to back. That means how my team is going to react when another team is building the process of the game. I like that side. You know, when you're talking the qualitative aspect of the game, defensive wise, I can start by looking strikers. You know, because when you're talking about defensive wise, you always speaking about defensive organization. You think that is your defense. No, it's the qualitative aspects of the game. It must be put in place. For that reason, I like be dominant. Of course, I like to have the ball, be in possession, but possession with objectives. You know, and there is one rule. If you understand about the evolution of football, there is one rule these days that changed the way of thinking about football. People, they don't see too much because there is different eyes to see the same thing. The supporters, maybe they cannot see what I see because they don't play the game. They just want to win. But when you want to develop your game, there is one evolution in football that make the coaches everywhere working the teams from the back by building the game. The goalkeeper throwing, the goalkeeper position. There is one change in football that the goalkeeper now, they can start to play inside the grand area. This change changed the way of thinking about football in many different aspects. There is one moment, if you take a wrong decision, when you start your building of play by the goalkeeper, if you take a wrong decision, it's already a problem in your sector. It's already a problem, you know, because a weak team, in one moment, they can pressure higher because they are waiting for the wrong decision making by the goalkeeper in the building of the game. For that reason, that changed the perspective about the way you need to find solutions if you don't have exit, for example. The goalkeeper has the ball, you want to start short, you know, and sometimes you cannot play short. You know, you need to have variation, you know, and sometimes if you don't have variation, you have a problem. You're going to commit mistakes. For that reason, There is one team in the world, in fact, that they beat Liverpool by being smart and being intelligent in the way of thinking of football. You know which team are intelligent in the way of thinking football when they play against Liverpool? You know which team? I was telling which team are very clever in this game, in this particular game, about what I'm talking you about the correct decision making. There is one club that you take all the time the good decisions against Liverpool. You know which club is?
No, is it Leicester City?
Atletico Madrid. If you see the games Atletico Madrid and Liverpool, people saying that Atletico Madrid doesn't have attractive football. But the question is, Atletico Madrid, when playing Liverpool, it's effective or not? It's effective. Because in 45 minutes, Oblak, when most of the goalkeepers start the game by playing short, in 45 minutes, because the high pressure of Liverpool, Oblak in 45 minutes, 2 times start short. He never starts short because the pressure of Liverpool. That means that Atletico Madrid understands that if Liverpool is pressing high, if I'm going to start short, I will not have the exit. For that reason, I will give opportunity for Liverpool to have the ball in my risky zone. For that reason, they start to playing second ball. They prefer to play long ball and second ball and be in the midfield to create the offensive movements of the game. Atletico Madrid is an intelligent team, international wise. Is intelligent team in Champions League. And Liverpool have a problem when they play against Atletico Madrid. But why Liverpool, it doesn't have a problem with another clubs? Because most of the clubs, they take the wrong decisions when they start the game from the goalkeeper position, because the pressure high, These things now, it's an evolution of understanding of football when you want to prepare tactical-wise the players to make a better decisions. Definitely. I don't know if you understand. I
got your little bit. I understood about. I kind of understood. It makes a lot of sense. And I'll get back to your career and I have 2 or 3 questions left. And this one is you have managed at club level and also at national level with Mozambique. Which one do you prefer, club management or national?
No, I think that when you be raised, I was raised in these 2 environments, and I'm very flexible and very adaptable because I know what I need to do if I'm in a national team environment, and I know what I need to do on a daily basis if I'm in a club. The job and the work and the efforts of the national team environment. First, it's a big responsibility because you're going to touch the many factors when you are a head coach of the national team. Because first of all, you need to identify the people in the federation who want to work with the planning, with the direction. Because sometimes, when you are in the federation, in the national team, sometimes you think you are strong and you are not strong. How you can raise the competitive levels, and sometimes you need to explain the director borders, how you can strengthen and what you really need. That means the process is a process of a lot of departments working together. It's very important in a national team. The time frame is different. Players coming from the club, we need to monitorize the development of the players. But I think overall, it's a very challenging work because you are touching in millions of people. You are touching, the flag of the country, and I love this challenge. I love this challenge. The daily basic club, depending where you are and depending which structure you have it, when you're talking facilities, when you're talking about the quality of players, the surrounding, the identity of the country, weather, you need to analyze all these aspects for you to add it. Because I think that a coach, when is going to a different environment, different country. You're going there to make the difference. You're going there to add value and respect those who are in the club. You need to always, and this is a key element and priority. You're not going to a club to change everything. You're going to a club to be integrated, help, valorated, and work with those who want to grow by giving the right tools. You know, for that reason, in this moment, I have an option before pandemic situation to go to another national team, another country. But after, of course, this pandemic situation slow all the process. And in this moment, I'm analyzed, and I hope soon everything can be normalized. And I'm going to different projects and going to different challenge as a coach.
Definitely. And on that note, I'll ask you my second last question. Okay, and it's like, you have so much experience in football. Do you have any piece of advice for young coaches coming up?
Yes, I think young coaches don't stop working in research. It's very, very important. These days, of course, we have a lot of information. We can take it a lot of planification of coaches and everything, and that is important because it's everything contents to be able to put in place. But I think that one of the things is, if you are working with the youth players, if you are working with the youth development, be focused in the process to strengthen the players himself. Don't think about attracting football, because this will coming naturally. Because if you want to form a good defender, focus in forming a good defender by giving the defensive skills for him to become a good defender. Because sometimes with this new philosophy of understanding football, sometimes if you want to find a good defender, you don't find anymore a good defender, because you are talking and you are thinking about the qualitative aspect of the game. You are not focused to potentialize the good way of form players. That is very important. Of course, these days, coaches, they have a vision, targets to grow, and that is very good. But this is a slow process. And what will remain always important is the difference that you can make it in the players himself. Of course, you're always thinking about the game of play. But if you are focused to potentialize the players and structure the teams properly, you will going to remain your valorization, what the team can produce by your own ideas. Don't copy no one. It's very difficult process by taking image and try to copy. Because sometimes if you want to copy, but you are not able to control what you are telling, it's already a problem. Because players understand if you are strong, if you have a leadership position, and if you are controlling what you are doing. For that reason, be able to control, no matter what you're going to put in place, but be able to control the exercise form, the game form, be able to control the exercise. And that is very important. That is a slow process among the others who are going to defining you as a good coach, and they're going to defining you about your future.
Definitely, and that I think it was a very helpful advice for many of them. And on that note, I'll ask you one last question, and this is very controversial. Whom do you prefer, Ronaldo or Messi?
It's very hard. Ť़obɛ̌či everybody's been questioned about that challenge, but I think that the good thing is that not happen often that in one decade two major players coming together. It doesn't happen often, for that reason, with respect of their own differences, in the way they play in the teams, they are the best. There is one element that I think it's vital about going out of the comfort zone. Cristiano made difficult changes, And I think that when you do this kind of decisions, to be able to challenge yourself in the different scenarios, and you still produce, and you still one of the best, with the difference about your biological age and competitive age. Cristiano, it's too strong. It's too strong physical wise. It's too strong mental wise, because he go out of his comfort zone. When you finish your career, he can say that he won in the national team, he won in Madrid, he won in Manchester United, and he won also in Juventus. And I think that if you're going to another challenge, I think he will still produce, and he will still among the best. It's not easy for those players to be more than 10 years fighting in the best positions in the world. Credit for both. Credit for both.
Definitely. And on that note, Abel, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to me. And I wish you all the best with your future endeavors that you said, like you are going to a new management coaching. I wish you all the best. I hope you are successful in that, and hope we can talk in soon. Thank you so much for coming once again. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you for having me, and all the best. Thank you so much. Thank you.